flying shark battle shuttle galloped forward at an unimaginable speed. Yang Kai sat cross-legged in a wing inside the battle shuttle to cultivate alone. As for Yang Yan, she was controlling the direction of the war shuttle. Riding on this special flying treasure is much better than using Star Shuttle. First, this battle shuttle has a separate room, and the space is not small. Yang Kai stays in it without external interference at all. This is something Star Shuttle cannot compare. Secondly, utilizing the Star Shuttle. During this period, it resists the attack of the headwind and turns on the protection of the Star Shuttle. All of them will consume the cultivator Saint Yuan, but the flying shark battle shuttle does not have so many concerns. They are all provided by the Saint Crystal source and will not consume any power from the cultivator. The third point is that the flying speed of the flying shark battle shuttle refined by Yang Yan is not comparable to an ordinary Star Shuttle. At the very least, Yang Kai has cultivated here for more than 10 days, without feeling the slightest disturbance, as if he was in a secret room, and outside interference could not be conveyed to him. Now he is the third order Saint King realm, and the next step is the void return stage, and he can condense his own chi. But wanting to be promoted to the void return stage is not that simple. At least Yang Kai still doesn't see hope. He secretly feels that it may not be possible to break through relying on hard work, perhaps it needs some chance and external stimulation. The same was true for the last time he broke through the third order Saint King realm. Hearing news about Su Yan from Qianyu drew the opportunity for the breakthrough. Yang Kai wants to find this opportunity by cultivating various secret techniques, so he has been cultivating golden blood thread these days, using the demon eyes to assimilate the glass beads, and even the last few flowing flames flying fire have been refined by him. The power of his conflagrated knowledge has increased a lot. This increase allows him to become more relaxed and free when he is pill refining. At the same time, the strength of divine consciousness is also greatly increased. If the Life Lotus secret technique is used, the power will definitely increase. But Yang Kai did not find a chance to experiment. On this day, he was condensing a new golden thread using his golden blood. Suddenly he felt battle shuttle tremble slightly and stopped in place. Yang Kai opened his eyes, got up and walked out, and after a while, he came to Yang Yan. It's almost there. We will fly over with Star Shuttle for the next journey. Yang Yan glanced at him. Of course Yang Kai had no opinion, he was always curious. Where did Yang Yan want to go out this time? Now that the answer is about to be announced, it is naturally very much anticipated. The two went out of the battle shuttle. Yang Yan played a few principal law, and the flying shark battle shuttle quickly became smaller and stored inside her space ring. Only then did the two sacrifice Star Shuttle and flew forward. The more he drove forward, the more Yang Kai could clearly feel the gathering and richness of the fire attributes spiritual energy between the world. Gradually, his expression became weird and thoughtful. And 2 days later, there was a glow in the sky. The earth underneath was dry, countless ravines and cracks crisscrossed, and when the scene where the intersection was crossed, Yang Kai exclaimed, "Flowing Flame Sandfield. The place you are coming to is Flowing Flame Sandfield." He naturally remembered this familiar scene clearly, and the entire shadowed star, probably only near Flowing Flame Sandfield, had such a harsh environment. But as far as Yang Kai knew, even with Star Shuttle, it would take 2 or 3 months to get from Heavenly Fate City to Flowing Flame Sandfield. But this time he and Yang Yan arrived in just a dozen days. It can be seen how terrifying the speed of flying shark battle shuttle are. Faced with Yang Kai's question, Yang Yan did not answer, but stared blankly at the fiery red in front of her. There was a complicated expression in her beautiful eyes, as if she was remembering something, but also a little frightened and extremely weird. As the distance approaches, her expression became more and more obvious, as if she was afraid of something. Her face was slightly pale. Yang Kai stepped forward and gently held her hand. Yang Yan was startled. Turning her head and looking around, she forced a smile after seeing Yang Kai. "What are you doing here? Can you tell me now?" Yang Kai stared into her eyes. Verify one thing. Yang Yan hesitated for a moment, and replied truthfully. Oh. What needs to be confirmed by coming to Flowing Flame Sandfield? Yang Kai was amazed. When Flowing Flame Sandfield was opened last time, Yang Yan didn't bother at all. She didn't even have the idea of coming with him, but she didn't want to be far away. After Flowing Flame Sandfield was closed for several years, she actually took the initiative to go here. It is known that there is no way to go deep into it now, unless the Star Emperor token is used to open the way. When Yang Kai was stranded in the Flowing Flame Sandfield, he used the Star Emperor token to clear the way before he could return safely. For this reason, he wasted a lot of time and suffered a lot. Yang Kai, do you believe in this life and the next life? Yang Yan suddenly asked nonchalantly. What do you mean? Yang Kai frowned. Yang Yan smiled bitterly. Do you still remember that I told you that the knowledge of artifact refining and formation method that I have is innate? No one has ever taught me this, but in my memory, I also don't have the concept of parents, as if I appeared out of thin air in this world. Yang Kai's brow furrowed more severely. He didn't know what Yang Yan was going to express, so he could only comfort her. No one appeared out of thin air. Maybe you have encountered something before, and the memory is a little broken. Perhaps. Yang Yan gave a wry smile, but didn't distinguish anything. While they were talking, the two of them had already arrived at the periphery of the first layer hot zone in Flowing Flame Sandfield, staring at the pitch-black tumbling flame barrier, and Yang Kai was now greatly increased in strength, but his heart palpitated. The terrifying power came from within the flame barrier. Even if the martial artist of the Third Order Void Return stage wanted to break through, there was only one dead end. He don't know if it was an illusion. When Yang Yan came here, the flames seemed to be more powerful. In my dreams for so many years, I often dream of myself becoming another person. This person, who is all over the wind and cloud, covering the sky with only one hand, and being the overlord of one party. Yang Yan stared ahead, not panicking at all, just quietly mumbling to herself. Do you think you're this person? Yang Kai looked at her serious face, wanted to laugh but couldn't laugh, faintly feeling something was wrong. I didn't think so before, but since the birth of Emperor Garden, this misty dream has become more real. Sometimes when I meditate or refine things, these inexplicable scenes will also appear. I can't help but think otherwise. You came here to prove this? Yang Kai finally sorted out his clues, and asked in amazement, how to prove it? What's special here? It's very simple. Yang Yan smiled, her delicate body shook, and instantly disappeared in place, and rushed straight into the Flowing Flame Sandfield. He didn't know what exquisite body technique she had displayed, but Yang Kai couldn't stop it. Yang Kai's expression changed drastically when he turned his head and looked inside Flowing Flame Sandfield, only to see that Yang Yan's figure had been submerged in the flame barrier. After hurriedly taking out a piece of Star Emperor token, Yang Kai was about to use its power to chase in, but the flame barrier roared and squirmed violently, and an unimaginable force of resistance came out from there, like an invisible big hand, and pushing Yang Kai directly hundreds of feet away. Yang Yan's intrusion, as if sprinkled a handful of salt in the hot oil, made the first layer of the Flowing Flame Sandfield completely boiling. The world buzzed. The already scarlet sky turned red like weeping blood at this moment. The crisscross ravines of the earth also cracked larger gaps, and the feeling like a mountain collapse, and the ground cracked from all directions, making Yang Kai footing swaying and not stable for a moment. Looking around, the heaven and earth aura in the first layer of the blazing area of the Flowing Flame Sandfield has been completely disordered, and the fire aura within 1,000 miles is frantically gathering here, instantly reaching a level that is visible to the naked eye. Yang Kai stared blankly, his face pale. With such violent energy gathering, let alone a mere Yang Yan breaking into it, even the most powerful expert on the Shadowed Star can't resist it, and will be broken in an instant. But when he saw a graceful figure standing quietly in the air, his nervousness suddenly relaxed. Yang Yan is okay. Although he couldn't see her face and movements clearly, it was inferred from the vague figure that this woman seemed to be constantly urging a magic arts, and centered on her location. The fire attributes spiritual energy and flowing flame between heaven and earth were all gathering towards her. The momentum is terrifying. Such changes in the world and the earth are varied and huge, which naturally arouses the attention of many people. Even the cultivators who are tens of thousands of miles away from here can clearly feel it. All of a sudden, many rays of light burst into the sky, one after another toward flowing flame sand field, wanting to get a closer look. Xianxia stood on the spot, watching anxiously. His thoughts were chaotic. He never imagined that Yang Yan was so courageous, and rushed into the blazing area alone. Just to prove something, she doesn't hesitate to risk her life. His heart was angry and anxious, but he was helpless. Every time Xianxia wanted to get closer, he would be pushed away by that huge force. Xianxia finally realized what it means to be powerless. Rumbling. A huge sound came from all directions, and the heat in the first layer of the flowing flame sand field was squirming, and constantly gathering towards Yang Yan, as if she had become a bottomless pit. No matter how much it is, she could accept it. As time went by, Xianxia was surprised to find that the heat in this first layer of the blazing area was rapidly diminishing and becoming thinner, and its power was greatly reduced, and he was dumbfounded. Half an hour later, Yang Yan's delicate body was clearly revealed, and the first layer of blazing area almost no longer existed. Xianxia stood in place and watched. Only Yang Yan looked solemn, her eyes closed, and she was wearing a black robe. The wind is making her long hair fluttering, and a red ring is held between her hands. The ring is about the size of a collar, but inside it exudes extremely terrifying fire attribute energy fluctuation. All fire attributes spiritual energy in blazing area blazing are infused into the ring and swallowed. To be continued.